Hello, and welcome to the ninth history lesson out of a series of 10 based on the Windrush generation and the theme of community. Make sure you have everything you need with you before you get started. Pause the video if you need to. Let's begin. So here's today's starter activity. What's the story? I enjoyed yesterday so much that I thought I'd go with a variation on it. And you can do this in two ways. You can continue with what we were doing yesterday, putting words into our characters' mouths, or you can have a go at writing a short 10-word story. Or you could maybe write a headline for a newspaper based on the image that we've got. Look carefully at the picture. What are the characters doing? Where are they? I wonder what part of history this might be representing. I've started off by putting some words in these characters' mouths. Now, it may not be the wisest words. I'm slipping, George, catch me, George. Or, I'll catch us some dinner, lads. Maybe you can come up with something a bit more sophisticated. Or you could have a go at that 10-word story. I've looked at the whole picture, tried to decipher what I think might be happening, use my inference skills. Walter dropped the anchor too early. Again. Now we're stuck. And last but no means least, that headline. Strong winds stifle seafarers. So we can see here that the sail is really bellowed out, which gives me the impression of a very strong wind that's kind of carrying them away. Maybe that's why we have this lookout shimmied up the mast and many people trying to hold on to that sail. Strong winds stifle the seafarers, stifle them, it stops them, makes it difficult for them. I bet you could come up with something far better. Over to you. Pause the video if you'd like to take some extra time. So welcome to today's lesson. In our last session, we found out about the Windrush scandal, and we found out about how many years after arriving in Britain, some people were being asked to leave and their citizenship being questioned. We also saw that Theresa May, who was the Prime Minister at the time, issued an apology and sought to seek answers and end this scandal. Now, whilst that might have brought an end to some of those proceedings, I think it's important for us to recognise that the UK has kept the Windrush story alive. Maybe not as well known as it should be, but has kept some of that celebration of its diversity, of the legacy of the Windrush throughout our country. Here's chapter 8 of our story, Keeping the Story Alive. After rejoining the RAF, Sam later worked for the Postal Service, Royal Mail. Then he went into politics, and in 1983 to 84, he became the first black mayor of the London Borough of Southwark. Together with his friend Arthur Torrington from Guyana, Sam set up a charity called the Windrush Foundation to help keep alive the story of the Windrush. And there we can see Sam and a photo of him when he was part of the RAF over on the right-hand side. And underneath we can see a commemorative plaque. These blue plaques get put up all around the UK in very important locations to celebrate key figures, key people and places in our history. And you can see there it says, Mayor of Southwark, 1983 to 84, wartime RAF serviceman, passenger on the Empire Windrush, West Indian community leader and Christian advocate, lived here. and that was voted for by the people. The fact that it's voted for by the people shows that the UK citizens feel that it's important for us to recognise this man and this generation for their hard work and for what they have become in our community. We'll also see now, over the next few slides, some of the other ways the Windrush has been celebrated. This first one is bright, it's colourful, and it's loud. It's the Notting Hill Carnival that takes place in London, in Notting Hill, and was started in 1966. So during that time when people were still arriving in Britain, and has been going on every single year in August over that bank holiday up until this year. It's still ongoing. And even though over this year's lockdown and social distancing restrictions, they were still able to build a carnival of a virtual which was then streamed across a variety of platforms so that people could still celebrate this in their own homes. It truly is a spectacular event, and I can vouch for that myself. Next up, I thought it was important to kind of share this moment. The 2012 London Olympics was a huge part of our recent history. And I remember watching this opening ceremony myself. And I loved how it told a lot of the history of Britain. And I remember this part. And I remember seeing this ship, the Windrush, come out and not really understanding the importance and the significance of that. And it's not until I've been doing my research to share with you about this generation and the impact that they've had on Britain that I really understood this moment in the opening ceremony. And if you get the chance to go back and watch it again, it really is truly amazing. And what a wonderful nod to that part in our history, an appreciation and an acknowledgement of the need for them as workers, as being part of the rebuilding of Britain, but also about where we are now. Let's see what we've got next. So here are some images taken in London. And this is specifically an area that has been known as Windrush Square. And talking about naming areas, for those of you that may live in the Southampton locality, and we've looked at images from Southampton with regards to the Empire Windrush and its arrivals already, but you may know of some areas near to you that were also named after the Windrush. Next up, again, I'm sticking with Southampton because it was only recently, in fact in 2018, that Southampton enhanced its appreciation of the Windrush generation by having this mural created, which is located in St Mary's. And there's also a plaque, not a blue plaque this time, but a Black History commemoration plaque that also recognises the brave pioneers who journeyed from the Caribbean to the port of Southampton. But it's amazing that it's only been in the last 2 years, and you'll notice that coincides. So it's at the same time as the scandal, and we realised what was happening with the legalities and all the paperwork about their right to stay in Britain, that the city put something in place to show their solidarity and the fact that they stood by that community and praised and acknowledged their part in our history as a city, but also as a country. Here's a little clip from the day when it was unveiled.
We had people who came to Southampton, to England, never seen snow before. People coming here and seeing chimneys, thought they were bakeries, because their chimneys are not popular in the Caribbean. I think these people who came, they were so brave. A lot of the things that we take for granted now, the Caribbean people from the Windrush generation suffered on a day-to-day basis. There was hostility, there was racism, they couldn't go to certain places in the centre of town, even churches wouldn't accept them. It helps us to galvanise our thoughts and our thinking. It helps us to recongregate. It helps us to remind people what are the positive things that black people have done over the years. It reminds also all of us that it's not just about slavery. It's also about other contributions, other aspects of Caribbean and black life in this country. And it's an opportunity to celebrate and enjoy.
So, as your task today, I'm going to ask you to design and to create your own mural or memorial to the Windrush generation. By this, you may want to do this on a larger piece of paper. Please don't start drawing on people's walls or on the sides of buildings. That's not what you have permission for. But for you to put something down on paper or to create something 3D that really celebrates this generation. That could be making something out of Lego. It could be about creating a poster. You could do it on using digital technology if you wanted to. So using things like a publisher or a paint or what have you online. It's completely up to you. But when you're creating this, I want you to think about the 5 bubbles. I want you to think about the 5 bubbles that we've got here and the questions inside. Because it's all well and good putting a lovely picture together or creating a sculpture. But we need to know what we're going to include. So first of all, think about what colours will best represent their story. You could see in the Southampton mural, there were really bright, vibrant colours. All of those colours that we could see in the images of the Notting Hill Carnival as well. So it might be something that you want to think about. Which words best describe the people of the Windrush generation? Again, if we look back at the Southampton mural, there is the phrase "one love" at the back. Didn't notice it? I have to go back and have a look. So it might be a word or a phrase, or maybe a collection of words that you think best describe them. Brave, courageous, pioneering, that you might want to use in your design. What message do you want to share about these people or time in British history? Okay. So yeah, we want to celebrate the Windrush generation. But what exactly do we want to be telling the people? You know, do we want them to be asking them to say thank you? Do we want them to stand with respect? What's your message? What symbols could be used to show what the people of the Windrush generation gave to Britain? So think about maybe the industries that they helped, the transport industry, the coal mines, the NHS. Could we use some of those logos or symbols in order to support our mural? And lastly, have a little think that if somebody gave you permission and they said, yes, it's amazing, it's brilliant. We want our citizens to see this. We want our community to recognize this, where would it go? Where in your locality, in your community, would it be seen the most? Where would be a fitting place for it to be? For example, in Southampton, maybe down at the dockyard where the boat first arrived. If you were living in a city near the coal mines, maybe it would be near those. Have a think. It would be amazing to see what you find, it would be amazing to see your final creations. Take your time, maybe do this over a couple of days. Think about your ideas today, start building it or start painting it or drawing it or colouring it tomorrow. I'm sure it will be fantastic. See you again soon. Bye bye.